Hello. Uh, Hello, everyone. Greetings to you based on your time zone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. It's another masterclass which is going to be taking place this morning, and we are going to be talking in details this morning about Rtk technology application in precision agriculture. So before doing this, let me quickly give a recap of uh, the program. So this is Precision Agriculture Incubation Program 2, presently ongoing. Um, okay, let me quickly give a breakdown of this. So Precision Agriculture Incubation Program is a digital agriculture capacity building program from the Center of Precision Field Academy, the classic African digital agriculture training school, bringing about transformation in the agriculture sector through comprehensive and expository training for youths on the concept of precision agriculture technologies and application to solve today's pressing challenges emanating in the agriculture landscape to strengthen and stabilize economic prosperity. Recognizing the transformative potential of precision agriculture, there is an urgent need to equip young emerging farmers, agricultural professionals, and aspiring agripreneurs who falls into the demography of youth with the need, prerequisite knowledge and skill to harness this technology effectively for global opportunity and exploit. The Precision Agriculture Incubation Program addresses the need by providing comprehensive training in key areas such as drone technology, GIS, data science, robotics, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, personal branding, drone business, and entrepreneurship. So through this program, participants are empowered to embrace innovation, optimize farm management practices, and contribute to the overall advancement of the agricultural sector by creating local content digital solution. And that's the end goal. After this training, look into the problem you can solve, start developing products in maybe in hardware and software that can directly solve the problems farmers are facing. So, okay, this is just the breakdown of it. So we have different encompassing technologies being modeled into this curriculum for everyone to have a wealth of knowledge and the concept of Christian agriculture. So these are testimonials from our past participants. So let me quickly talk about the 7 objectives. So the 7 objectives, the primary objectives of Precision Agriculture Incubation Program are to close the knowledge. Number one is to close the knowledge gap of participants about precision agriculture technologies and practice. Number two is to raise next generation agricultural remote pilot. Number three is to groom young precision agriculture leaders and stakeholders for global exploit. Number four is to build the capacity of youth in the aspect of technology application in agriculture. And number five is to promote the adoption of innovative and sustainable farming technologies that improve agricultural productivity and resource management. Number six is to foster entrepreneurship and encourage participants to develop technology-driven solutions for agriculture challenges. And lastly, number seven is to create a network of digitally empowered young agriculture professionals who can drive positive change in the agriculture industry. And this is the Core 2 roadmap. So this program caters delivery in 2 aspects, and we have the virtual facilitation section, and we are going to be having on-site section. So under this, we have 2 major tracks, in which is employability and entrepreneurship. So it's either targeted at 2 ends. It's either fall into having your own agri-tech enterprise looking into developing solutions, and that places you under the entrepreneurship track. And we have employability. Employability is you might not really have interest in starting your own brand directly, but there are existing brands that are actually doing something in precision agriculture. But you actually need the requisite skill that make you relevant and competitive to be able to work in that kind of organization. So having this world experience can really help you, yeah, to be valuable in the industry. So what I've focused there, so Precision Agriculture Incubation Program Core 2 will focus majorly on the outline technologies below, which is drone technology. We're going to be doing something much in drone technology. We're still going to have field practicals, the aspect of drone technology. And the past few classes we've heard, we've had classes in relation to satellite and remote sensing, the application of satellite. Mr. Kuri took a class on satellite monitoring, how you can use satellite for crop monitoring, crop inspection, do a whole lot of analysis, farm analysis, collect data, and process them for actionable insights. We also have robotics and Internet of Things. We've had two classes here related to robotics, but it's streamlined into the livestock. The class that was taken by Dr. Rebecca Ndeshi and Mrs. Adaisi Paluga. So they both talk in the aspect of livestock. One class was focusing majorly on cattle, while the other one was focusing on poultry business. So we still have another one coming up, which is going to be focused directly on crop. You can get soil moisture, plant health information, and all of that. Yeah, irrigation systems as regarding crop cultivation. So lastly, we have enterprise and business development. The goal of everything is that by the time you're done with this training, with your experience and your encounter through this program, we're able to shape you in re-engineer your mindset about the concept of agriculture, and you'll be able to do something much more efficient and better going forward. So we have the program structures with theory facilitation. After the theory facilitation, like the one we have now, so we also have independent learning, and I believe people attending independent learning are still, it. So we have some courses here that you have to do just to get the certification as an added advantage part of being this program. And lastly, we have the field practicals. So field practicals, we are still going to do some field practicals, building drones, collection of data, flying drones, and all of that. So and the use of ArcGIS and all of that. So it's still relating to it falls under the practical. So that's just the breakdown of it. Okay. So lastly, as we close on this, Dr. Kyomi Adishino, the president of African Development Bank, said something profound. And he made mention of unless Africa uses modern technology, our farmers' output will remain low and will remain dependent on others to feed us. So let me quickly give a breakdown of. Okay, so the Precision Field Academy. Precision Field Academy is the organizer of this program. Okay, do well to give your introduction as you streaming. Do well to give your introduction so we can have your details. Okay, so at Precision Field Academy, we have a vision to create a world where every young person, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to become a digitally savvy farmer and agricultural professional, driving sustainable and equitable growth in their communities through the transformative power of technology. And our mission is to raise next-gen farmers that are tech-inclined and digitally savvy. So about Precision Field Academy, we're a social enterprise. We train and build the capacity of young professionals in modern and emerging technologies for the future of work and to lead with precision agriculture. So we have core three methodology. Number one is education and knowledge sharing, training and skill development. Three is coaching and mentorship. And we have certain test skilling. Focus number one is drone technology. So we are using drone technology to collect data and to help enhance the practice of precision agriculture. And secondly, we have GIS and remote sensing, geographic information technology and remote sensing. That deals with the use of satellites, using other GIS software, GIS, QGIS, to collect data to streamline the practice of precision agriculture. We have data science for agriculture. Data science is talking about where you gather a whole lot of areas of data as regarding crop, plant health, plant classification, crop monitoring, gathering different data for research purpose and also for business services. So we have robotics and Internet of Things. That's the use of farm devices, smart farm devices that could actually work in your state. There are certain things human might need to do, but putting this robotic and digital device systems in place can actually help us fast track growth and also save time and gather accurate information. We have artificial intelligence and machine learning. So artificial intelligence, the common one that we all know is the use of the chat GPT, the Gemini, and all of that. So artificial intelligence has application in agriculture, but you can use it to do the disease prediction, to check for disease, drought, pest, and all of those things. Yeah, using these algorithms to be able to um, prepare yourself for the unforeseen circumstances to take preventive measures to curb them. Lastly is enterprise development. The goal of everything is for us to actually help raise more younger tech leaders who are going to have their own company, turning their passion into a profitable enterprise that solves problems. So why do we do what we do? Our motivation, number one, we discovered there is a skill gap that needs to be closed, and young professionals need to build skill, technical and both enterprise skill for the future of work in agriculture. So secondly, observing the trend is not enough. So youth need to be an enabler of this technology and a player in the fourth industrial revolution and not just mere observer. Number three is technology is the key to unlock the African agriculture potential. So using technology, we can unlock the potential of African agriculture. So why should you join us? Yeah, the reason why you should join us is that we are creating the future we want in agriculture. We are looking into designing our own future and looking into the exact future we actually want. The way we perceive agriculture should be practiced is what we're creating. Secondly, we connect you to the world of information and opportunities in terms of scholarship, internship, volunteership on both local and international scale. So for your career growth. And we also have focused skill development, which we are doing through project collaboration, community interaction, workshops, and symposiums in different schools, drone shows, road shows, and different kinds of events in relation to precision agriculture. And also, we have access to coaching and mentorship from industry leaders and professionals. And programs like this will give you an access, yeah, to be able to have interactions with leaders around the world. So at Precision Field Academy, we are building a community of young tech inclined and digitally savvy farmer and professional. So today, we are going to be talking about RTK, that's Real Time Kinematic Enabled Precision Agriculture. So RTK is a device majorly used in surveying and geoinformatics systems. So, and it has an application in agriculture as well. So, today we're going to be talking in details about how to enable precision agriculture. And our guest speaker is Mr. Samuel Weldy. He is a PhD candidate and he's also the co-founder of Onkoi and a research assistant at ETH Zurich. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Harry. You're joining us from Chad. Okay, thank you. And also Mr. Baina. Mr. Baina, thank you very much for joining. So let me quickly read through his profile. I'm still trying to connect with the speaker because I believe by now he's supposed to join the stream. So just give me like 5 minutes to bring him up on stage before I. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So our speaker is here now. So let me quickly just read through his profile.
Let me check the
Topic is going to be taking
settings.
us through is Rtk-Enabled precision agriculture. Okay. So let me quickly read through his profile as I bring him up on stage. Mr. Samuel passionately advocates for decentralized technologies and its potential, okay, and the potential to reshape systems. His journey into GNSS, that's Global Navigation Satellite System, began with the blockchain startup Oncoin, which he co-founded to revolutionize GPS accuracy, that's global positioning system. So Encore mission is to bring centimeter level precision to GPS through a community-owned global Rtk network, unlocking new possibilities for autonomous vehicles, drones, and precision agriculture. With a background in research, data analytics, and technical consulting, Samuel leads Encore community building and communication efforts, empowering contributors and fostering innovation. He is driven by the vision of turning centralized infrastructures into a community-driven resources. In his talk, Samuel shares the story of Switzerland for a vital role in decentralized systems like the World Wide Web, from the first GPS in a mobile phone to the founding of the Unicorn Company to the use of blockchain for building dense global hierarchy network. Audiences will learn how they develop, laid the foundation of modern precision technology, and how Encore is leading the future of decentralized GNSS infrastructure. Okay, thank you so much, Samuel, for joining. And as participants in house, we have an expert this morning, and he's going to be sharing with us in details how he has been leveraging Rtk technology in his work to facilitate precision agriculture from his own hand in his own country where he is based. So, Mr. Samuel, if you can hear me, you have the floor now. You can have the stage. So, if you don't know your slide, you can bring up your slide on stage, sir.
Yes, will do. Thank you very much, Joseph. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you very well, very well.
Perfect. So let me share my screen. I hope you can see it from now on.
Okay, let me bring it to the stage.
I can see it. Can you guys see it too? I'm sharing the same
Yes,
image,
yes,
just
yes,
on
yes, yes.
PowerPoint. Okay, great. Cool. So, hello, everybody. I was a little bit surprised that we already are in now. The meeting was scheduled 40 minutes later on my agenda, but it's totally fine. Thank you for the introduction, Joseph. I will be using the next
You're welcome, you're
one.
welcome.
I will be using the next 1.5 hours to give you a brief overview on a Friday morning about a little bit of my background, Switzerland, the internet, and now more specifically also RTK. So, as already introduced, my name is Samuel. I'm the co-founder of Onakoi. Onakoi will be introduced in this presentation. And yeah, I have my background in information systems, data analytics, consulting, research, research at AI department at the University or ETH Zurich, which is actually a technical university in Switzerland, and somehow drifted over to blockchain and crypto economics. And through this experience or through this background, I was then, yeah, becoming a co-founder of Onako. But as mentioned, I will get deeper into this. I hope it's going to be interesting for you guys. And this meeting is called Rtk-Enabled Precision Agriculture because you guys are specialized into yeah, agriculture. That's what the name says, right? Cool. Let's actually try to share my screen in a presentation mode. Okay, it's not really possible, but since I'm connected with two screens, I will maybe just deconnect it to make it easier so that you guys can see the presentation mode. Okay. Cool. So as mentioned, the World Wide Web has been invented about 40 years ago. It was in Geneva, Switzerland, that the invention had been made by this famous scientist, Tim Berners-Lee, or Berners-Lee. And the internet was actually a really special idea because it was just the research connection of different institutions, which should be simplifying the exchange of information. But today, all the big tech clients or tech giants are built on the internet. And the interesting thing is that even today, 40 years later, we can still use the internet for precision agriculture. So what you see here are autonomous lawn rower, autonomous robots in the precision agriculture industry, which are used commonly in Europe because they want to industrialize more and more the farming industry. But the internet and the information or data exchange allow us to even create more innovative applications or solutions. And my goal will be, after this 1.5 hours, to give you 2 to 3 simple takeaways. How can you make your country or the area where you live more digitalized, more futuristic, or even more scalable, so that you can bring development and more technology to your hometown? And also, what is exactly Onokoi and why does blockchain have somehow a value in all of this? And the second thing is, I also want to give you a small giveaway of a project that already works really well. You guys maybe know Rwanda. It's a little bit of an innovative country in Africa. Rwanda gave a few years ago a project to an American startup called Zipline to build the logistic infrastructure for medical delivery systems. So here specifically, you see how blood is delivered really efficiently by this unmanned aerial vehicle or small airplane. And whenever a woman gives birth to children, then basically after 90 seconds of order, the blood can immediately be delivered. And it doesn't require anybody piloting this or driving or navigating it. You can fly autonomously to the location where the hospital is and then drop the blood or the package, whatever is ordered. And what does this have to do with agriculture, you might be asking? Well, the precision agriculture and this application here, which already fully works in Rwanda, they both need RTK. So that's where Onakoi comes in, our startup that we founded 3 years ago. Onakoi enables mass adoption of high precision GPS with DPIN and blockchain technology. Might be not easy to understand this short and easy sentence, but it will be really easy for you after my lecture or my presentation. So first, maybe the word, I think GPS should be understood by every one of you because we all use it with Google Maps. But DPIN, what does DPIN mean? So DPIN stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. Decentralized, you can see in this big table in red and yellow or red and green, what the advantages are if you decentralize something. So if we are building a network, we can call it, let's say, internet network, basically. Or you can call it friendship network, or you can call it whatever you want. A community can also be basically something like a decentralized network. Then there are a lot of advantages. And so in the first row, we are showing you that if you decentralize something, the capital expenditures are much lower because you can crowdsource basically the costs, right? If you have a centralized institution building up something, it will be much higher or much more expensive to set this up. While the crowdsourced method allows you to distribute the many different money sources. So in our solution, basically, the users, they all contribute a little bit of money, a little bit of assets or labor, and this, with a common goal, incentivizes or allows us to basically build it together, much more affordable for everyone. And yeah, in the blockchain method or in the blockchain strategy, we have tokens. Token stands for something like a digital money, or it can be anything, an asset. And this is also, since it's new invented, it allows us to do prepayment. But this is just the first row of CapEx. Another advantage when you decentralize a network is the OpEx, the operational costs. So, for example, if you have a telecom company providing internet or telecom communication services in a country, then whenever there is a defect on an antenna or anywhere else, the telecom company needs to send a worker to the damaged place. He needs to climb up the antenna or the building. He needs to do reparation if he's able to do it. If he's not able to do it, he needs to drive back to the garage or the office, get the required materials so that he can do the reparation. So the operational costs are really high in a centralized build network. If you have a network which is decentralized, the OPEX are much lower. Now, if you add on top the method that we chose by using tokenomics or blockchain solution, with the on-chain method, we can even more reduce the administrative overhead because the stakeholders themselves will be incentivized to take care of a good network because they are part of the network. So it's their baby. They want to have a good child, right? So that's why basically you can imagine the OPEX are less of a problem on decentralized network. Yeah, the last 2 points, the point of failure was one of them. So if you have a centralized institution building up a network, then if this institution struggles or fails, everything is done and over. And we have to give up or we have to, yeah, or just trust and pray and hope that it will never fail actually. But if you build a network which is decentralized, then the resiliency is much higher. It's much more stable. It's much more secured because it's like a table with 4 legs, right? If one leg on a table breaks, you still have 3 legs left. So it's much more robust. While if you only sit on a chair with 1 leg, you pray that this leg will never break. So that's what we try to explain on the row number 3. And the last one is the innovation. So the innovation can have a huge impact and be much more supported if you have a decentralized structure or a decentralized system. And if you only have a centralized system where, for example, you have a president and he has 2, 3 vice presidents, and those have assistants, and those assistants have, people underneath them, then it will always take ages to change things or to propose new solutions. So the innovation will bleed a lot if you have a centralized network versus in the decentralized system, everybody can within days implement his new ideas or test new solutions. So the takeaway from this slide for you guys, building a network or building something like a market or an ecosystem, if you decentralize it more, if you let more people contribute, it's getting cheaper in the short and long term. I mean, the capex and opex basically is more affordable. It's less of a problem. You have more resiliency because more people are contributing this network or supporting this network. And the innovation as well can always come much faster through and be much more up to date. Let's call it this way. So the word DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure networks like telecom, like 5G, internet, or RTK network. That's what we are building, right? RTK networks. If you can build it decentralized, you profit much more. You have more advantages out of it. Okay, so this was the first keyword, right? DePIN. And I think blockchain is also something most of you guys already have heard, right? So if we talk about in general, DePIN, like physical infrastructure networks, is something that today has a huge trend or huge momentum. A lot of different applications or a lot of different problems can be solved by building DePIN projects. And this is basically also what we are trying to do. So in the summer 24, we counted more than 650 different startups or projects in the industries of wireless, energy, sensors, services, AI, etc. And they all also use a little bit of the blockchain aspects or the blockchain advantages. We will get deeper into this. First, let's have a brief look into the flywheel of a DePIN ecosystem or a DePIN network. So we can start on the top at the founders. Basically, founders They have an idea, they see a problem, and they have an idea how the problem can be solved. And so therefore the founders will create something like a protocol. A protocol can be translated into many different forms. It can be something like an algorithm. It can be something like a concept, how they want to solve it. It can be something like a business plan. It can be something like a paper, a white paper, a research paper, how they think this problem can be solved. And then if we turn clockwise, the entrepreneurial culture will lead the founders to find or to search for investors who can support their project idea. And with the help of investors, financial capital will come in, which basically will support the whole project, right? The more money you get into your project or your startup, the more you can realize something. And since we are now in the DePIN or in the blockchain sphere, tokens will be a valuable thing. So as I already briefly mentioned, token is something like digital monies. The advantage of tokens is that it's digital and it's not physical, and it's also not managed by central banks or governments. This means a token can exist in limited amount. That's an advantage because you know how much money there will be, and there will hopefully never be inflation as we are witnessing it today, every day. Another advantage of tokens is since it's digital, you can within seconds transfer it from Switzerland, where I'm from, to Africa, to Chile, to China, no matter where. Internet allows us, the build network of the internet or the World Wide Web allows us to transfer the digital money everywhere within seconds with almost no transaction fees. And there are many other advantages of tokens, like you can govern a project or a system by voting for decisions and so on. So there are a lot of positive advantages to use tokens instead of normal fiat, US dollar, or other currencies. Okay, so we started in the first quarter, right? The founders have an idea because they always, every day maybe have the same problems. And so they want to solve this problem. They create a protocol where they conceptualize their solution. With this, they can find investors who will support them financially. This generates more token value. And now what they will be doing in the bottom right side is to find supporters, deployers, or as we call them, miners like the gold diggers. And they will now start produce and contribute to the network, to this DePIN. And this is then how basically the whole wheel will start to become a bigger and bigger loop. So the miners and deployers can help realize or implement the protocol that had been designed at the beginning. Third-party developers on the bottom left will start contributing with more human capital. They also want to be part of this momentum. DePIN applications or dApps, because these are decentralized applications, can be invented. And then on the top left, the end users can start utilize it and use it. And this generates more and more momentum, a huge trend. The network will start to rise and more people will use it. If you want to have a simple example for this, think of the internet. So the internet had been invented more than 40 years ago. We can discuss if it's even more than 80 years old. Some people say it has been invented much earlier, but the basic invention was in 1989 in Switzerland, Geneva, at the CERN. It's a big research institution. And there basically the World Wide Web has been founded. And the internet today is something we all need, right? I'm communicating with you guys through the internet. And you guys are listening to me through the internet. So internet is the network today we need as much as maybe infrastructure or public transports, like it's the network we all need. So basically in the blockchain sphere, there are a lot of projects which try to build similar networks or systems or even ecosystems. Oof, okay, that was a deep dive into this flywheel slide. This is a simple overview of the many startups or projects I mentioned to you guys. So we can briefly start on the right side, on the physical resource side. You see a lot of different industries. So the sensor industries or the weather industry, the wireless industry, the mapping industry or mobility or energy. And on the bottom right, you see the location industry. And this is where Onokoi, our startup, is in. On the left side, there are more digital resources or different type of projects which do not really work with physical things. Yeah. This is just an overview for you guys. You do not need to dive deep into this. If you're a little bit interested, maybe take a picture of this slide and then Google some of these projects. Most of those projects have their own cryptocurrencies or their own tokens. So therefore, you can basically also support them or buy some of their cryptocurrencies with your mobile phone or with internet. If this is somehow interesting to you, yeah. But if you're interested in agriculture and agriculture only, then probably the weather projects on the top right might be interesting for you guys because they try to provide you better weather predictions. Or the bottom right, where the location projects are on a core to mention. Cool. Let me just check if you guys are still in the call and still seeing everything. Yeah, looks good. Great. Then let's dive more specifically into high precision GPS and RTK. And our project, of course, Onokoi. So the whole story actually started already a long time ago, more than 20 years at the ETH Zurich, electronics professor, an investor or an entrepreneur, and 3 young students had the idea to create uBlocks. uBlocks is also the one who did this video. And these 5 men together, as a spin-off from the university, founded uBlocks and made it what it is today. And you guys have never heard probably this name, and this is okay, but you guys have uBlocks without knowing it. So what do I mean by this? uBlocks is the company that has built semiconductors, small microchips, which are almost in every laptop, almost in every drone, almost in every car, and so on. So uBlocks, maybe I can even briefly share you guys a second my screen. Oh no, it's not possible, huh? I'll have to figure it out how I'll best share this with you guys. But what I was trying to say is that uBlocks is basically has been invented 2001-ish, 2001-ish. And it actually all started in 1999 when the 3 students had put the first GPS chip in a cell phone. And this was a cell phone. This was not a smartphone in this time. So it was really an early project. They then were able to build up a company, uBlocks, as mentioned. They made it big. They became a unicorn. They had an IPO in the year 2007 at the Swiss Stock Exchange and reached about 500 million US dollar, which gave them a huge boost, to bring even more semiconductors chips out. And yeah, in 2016 reached a huge market cap of 1.6 billion US dollar. They are now, as mentioned, the unicorn. Even car companies like Tesla are buying their semiconductors so that the cars have navigation, so that the car knows where the car itself is. Tractors, farmers, drone applications, they all need these small chips inside. And later on, Daniel, one of the co-founder of uBlocks, Daniel realized that by staying in a company, it will almost never be possible to build something as big as a global network. And why was he targeting at this? Because actually there are a lot of advantages. I will actually tell you on the next slide about this. First, let me just finish this overview of origin stories to mention all the points. Yeah, the urgent need of mass market and high precision GPS was realized in 2021. That's when also we started founding Onakoi. We had more and more team members joining and supporting this with a lot of experience. And since then, also Onakoi has been able to raise a lot of non-dilutive fundings to support our project to build a GPS 3.0 solution to make, first of all, GPS more precise. Second of all, GPS more affordable because it's a decentralized network that is providing the correction data or the precise GPS. And third, to make it community owned. Community owned because it's decentralized. Cool. Long story short, let's go into a deeper explanation of RTK. On the left side, you guys can now see a simple visualization how GPS works and also then how RTK works. If you look at GPS means there are satellites from every big nation flying around us, or sorry, on top of us, around the Earth. And those satellites always stream information signals. And these information signals can be tracked by us with the receiving chips or with a receiver in general. And our receiver can then calculate our position. What is the simplest example for this? Well, your mobile phone, right? If you use Google Maps, then you have a mobile phone. Your mobile phone is able to receive the signals. With the signals and informations, which are sent by, a really light speed, basically, your mobile phone can then calculate his own position. He therefore needs at least 4 different satellite informations at the same time. This is then how GPS works. But the GPS accuracy is not perfect. What is a big problem is the atmospheric delays. So in the ionosphere and troposphere, there's a lot of things which delay the information exchange, like humidity or other things. And if even only for milliseconds, the information exchange from the satellite, 26,000 kilometers on top of the Earth center, are coming a little bit milliseconds too slow down to us, to Earth, then the calculation of our smartphone, as I showed you, to calculate his own position will be inaccurate. If I say inaccurate, that's what we are talking about in meter level, right? So about 2 meter radius will always be the data accuracy or the positioning accuracy that you will have if you only use GPS. Now, if you somewhere can place a reference receiver, that's the bottom left visualization on the diagram. The reference receiver only needs internet, electricity, and a good and clear sky view. If this is given, then the reference receiver can basically track and calculate how strong is the atmospheric delay currently, and then provide you as the user or the rover with correction data. And your rover can then use the correction data to decrease the inaccuracy down to centimeter accuracy. So it will be really precise. High precision GPS or RTK is made by this. So now you understand VPN, building a real network, a physical network, but community owned or decentralized. Now you understand RTK, Real Time Kinematic, and also GPS, of course. I hope this was not too boring for you, but I had to repeat it. And this is basically what Onakoi is doing. Why is Onakoi doing this? So The problem actually stands in the lack of global GPS precision services. Today, only the yellow or green parts of the maps of the world map are currently providing these services, this centimeter accurate positioning data. And this creates a huge advantage, of course, for those countries, because there the people or the farmers can use autonomous tractors, autonomous lawn rover, autonomous drones, autonomous delivery robots, and so on. But as always, it also has disadvantages. The disadvantages are that it's really expensive to only focus in these areas, since if you build your network, you want to make money, you want to ideally tie your clients and customers to yourself, or at least that's what currently is happening. And therefore, in these areas, there are more than 30 companies fighting for the market, and they all have their own networks of stations, of reference stations, the ones I showed you here in the bottom left. So if the different service providers have their own different stations, then this leads kind of like to an overcrowded area of stations, because they're not sharing their information, but they're competing for the best information maybe. And this is inefficient usage. And also the rest of the world, the gray part of this map, is not profiting from it at all. So it's not really an efficient strategic method to provide the services. And we think, or Onakoi believes, that if Onakoi is somehow able to bring the players together, if Onakoi is also able to incentivize people around the world in the gray parts of the map to set up their own reference stations on rooftops, then the whole world can profit from it, because it's not anymore as expensive. We can basically share and do not need to, have stations next to each other to compete, but we can share the same, and it makes it affordable for everyone. And it also supports much more the technical development, right? We will all be able to use IoT or autonomous robots in our daily life, which is currently not the case. And therefore, now in the gray part on the bottom, we think the next $1.4 trillion markets can be covered if Onakoi would succeed. And therefore, only 100,000 stations are required to cover the whole world. Today, up to today, in the green parts of the world, about 30,000 stations exist. So more or less 70,000 stations are required to provide global coverage. This collaboration will also provide to a really reliable data supply, which is affordable for the mass market. And if Onakoi can use tokenomics or digital monies, then additionally, a different payment system can be used. As already mentioned, digital money is easier and cheaper to send. And therefore, if Onakoi can use the tokens or the crypto economics, then pay per usage can be realized, and we can stop having these yearly or monthly memberships, which are always too expensive, inefficient, because maybe you only use one day in a month the autonomous lawn rover or similar applications. Yeah. And also, of course, the open access, which already had been mentioned multiple times, is the goal of Onakoi. Oof, okay, so now we understand the problem. Africa is not covered at all. This is making it really hard in Africa to use precision agriculture or autonomous robots, autonomous drones. What we saw previously, right, in Rwanda, that it can work if the government is really deeply supporting it or if startups are really pushing it. Now let's see the solution, what Onakoi thinks would be a good solution for this problem. The solution, in our point of view, is a community-powered reference station network. So Onakoi thinks if multiple people around the world set up stations on the rooftops, about 100,000 as mentioned, then the whole world will be covered with centimeter accurate GPS data, and then more and more modern technical solutions can be implemented. Onakoi leverages Web3 or blockchain or crypto to create the community-powered GPS reference station network of unprecedented coverage. Nice sentence. What is the meaning? Tokenomics or blockchain or crypto economics allow us basically to build this global network. It's not possible to do it only with US dollars. I mean, it would be possible, but it would cost us 20 to 30 times more money, which would make a huge amount of money. The solution is easiest explained by the visualization on the right side. On the right side, you see a triangle. You have the supply, the demand, and the service side. The supply side is what we always talked about so far. The supply side is if community or people, individuals like you or you, institutions, universities, companies, or even other people, maybe currently operating companies, like one of these 30 companies which is currently in the market, if they share the data to our ecosystem, then we have the supply side coverage. Then there is what we need, the correction data. And to support the supply side growth, we can use tokenomics, crypto coins, to pay them, kind of feed them if they do what we need. And the easiest way to do this is by immediately paying them for every day that they are providing us good data, and even incentivizing them additionally whenever they are doing what we need them to do, like giving us the right data at the right time in a reliable online time, ideally 24/7, and so on. The second side of the ecosystem that we consider as the right solution to provide the whole world centimeter accurate GPS is a demand side. And the demand already exists. So you saw in Europe, there are a lot of autonomous, or let's say techie farmers using autonomous robots. There are more than 30 companies already having millions of connected devices using centimeter accurate positioning. They need to be handled really user-friendly. So it should be really easy for them that they can easily pay, easily get what they need within minutes and without a big effort. Blockchain allows us this because blockchain allows the users to only use for 5 minutes a month the centimeter accurate positioning for the tractor or for the lawn rover or whatever. It makes it much more affordable. It makes it much more easy to use because it can immediately be registered, paid, and used within minutes. It doesn't need 2 weeks to register, wait for the letter, get a confirmation code, sign in with the confirmation code. No. And then we come to the third side of the ecosystem or of the solution, which is the service side. The service side will be making sure that the supply and demand are not cheating. It's also taking care that the whole ecosystem is stable and running well. Currently, the service side is provided by our company. So our association has founded a company, our association is a non-profit. Our company is providing the services for the non-profit association. And so I'm also employed as a founder of the association. I'm also employed at the company, and our company is working on the implementation, is validating the data which comes from the supply side, is making sure that communication works well, is doing the marketing so that more users are aware of our solution, is making sure that all the parties get what they need and that our solution is ideally adapted to the global requirements. So you see, I showed you now the solution. To cover the whole world with more precise GPS, we think blockchain is the mandatory aspect required for this because it allows us to push much more the incentives of the supplier, to make it much more affordable for the clients because they only pay per usage, and the service side, which is currently centralized on us, but also can be decentralized, will be making sure that the whole system stays stable. So the three-sided platform will or should be able to reach the economies of scale for our solution. And that's it in a nutshell. Thank you very much. No, I'm kidding. I have much more to explain you guys. So after all this technical stuff I talked so far and this theoretical stuff, I will now show you exactly what we're doing. Let me share my screen. I have to briefly change. Present screen. So I think you guys can now see my screen. Let me just check. Yeah, okay. So now I'm sharing you guys everything I talked so far. It might have been boring. Sorry for this. It was a little bit long. Now I'm showing you the product of Onocoin. This is the application that has been implemented the last 2 years. This is the application that is live for the client side since August, mid-August 2024. This is the application that the supply side has been used. And currently, if I go on online, currently we have 3.4 thousand stations online. So you see the coverage, as already mentioned, much more dense in America and Europe. Australia also really well covered. New Zealand, Japan. Yeah, but the eastern part of the world is gray. Africa is pretty well covered in Rwanda, Uganda, and South Africa. South America looks not bad in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Yeah. So how does this work? This is our product, this is our baby, and you can just think of Airbnb. If you're on Airbnb, you're looking for a location to stay, you only pay for the days that you're going to use the location. You can just click and order on the website, and everything will be managed by the platform. And the supply side comes from individuals. This is Onocoin doing the same thing, but with GPS correction data. So if we go somewhere to South Africa as an example, I'm mentioning South Africa because I will be there soon. We have already a lot of stations here in Cape Town. You see Cape Town. I clicked now on this orange station. We see the radius is the second orange circle is about 50 kilometers. So more or less, in this part of Cape Town, you should receive centimeter accurate correction data from our data provider. If I talk about data provider, then here on the left side, I have more information about this station that I just selected. So it has been installed in March 18th. It has a really good receiver because he can receive satellite signals from GPS. GPS is the American satellite systems. It also receives signals from the Galileo. Galileo is the European satellites which are flying around us. GLONASS are the Russians, Beidous are the Chinese, and so on. So this antenna here in Cape Town looks really good. It has been up the last 24 hours all the time. It received multiple satellite signals. Yes, we can also track the rewards. So our platform, our application has rewarded or paid this South African station owner 5.3, 3.5, 5.6, 5.4 tokens or digital monies. And since March, this guy earned about 1,000 digital monies. Our digital money is not listed, is not on an exchange, and therefore currently cannot officially be turned into money. But you can consider it as money, and one day it will be. So this is basically it in a nutshell. I can show you my station from a data provider point of view. I will go here on reference stations. Now I see all the stations that I have connected. I'm here in Zurich, Switzerland. And if I click on my station, then now I can see all the information of my station in Zurich, Switzerland. So my station is currently receiving about 50 signals. It's connected to 25 different satellites. It has 0.3 latencies. It earned 16 digital monies or tokens so far. I can claim or another 1.7 digital monies. So the digital money is not always immediately sent to me, but it comes whenever I claim it. There was a short connection problem 1 hour ago, so now it's online for again an hour. You can also see which satellite signals or frequencies it can receive. In the middle, I have my sky visibility map. So this means the antenna that I have placed outdoor, if you look on a 360 degrees point of view, it does not have good visibility to the sky on the north southeast range. This is because I placed my antenna on the balcony and therefore the house wall is blocking the sky view. And if the sky view is blocked, then not so many satellite signals can be received. If I click here on Enable Live Feed, then I can exactly see which satellites are right now on top of me. So I see here the RO3, this is the Russian, the GLONASS satellite. I can here see E's or Galileos, these are the Europeans. And maybe you realize they are slightly moving, millimeters. So we are trying to always show the live data in here in this table. It's not easy to track it, but maybe here in the diagram, it's easier to recognize the movements. So yeah, that's basically it. I think this is the simplest way to imagine how the satellites are moving on top of us. I can additionally show you the neighboring stations. So we do not need 20 stations next to each other, right? It's like having 3 McDonald's or 2 Burger Kings on the same street. That's a waste. Therefore, we have created a rewarding system, which is tracking how many stations are close to you. And the more stations are close to you, the lower rewarding you will get. This is to incentivize you to move away, go somewhere where nobody else is, cover an area which is not covered yet, but do not just install your station where everybody's trying to be. That's useless, that's inefficient. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the easiest summary, I think, for the supply side. For the demand side, I will go on Ntrip client. And here, what we see here is a really simple online store. So I can click, I can see my data usage so far. If No, I have not used anything in the last 3 months. I lost it my test in summer. I can basically, okay, so this may be a little bit complicated, but I'll try to explain it as simple as possible. To use the centimeter accurate correction data for high precision, the client can buy with dollars, US dollars, data credits. And data credits have the same value as US dollar. So this is always 1-to-1, the same value. But to use the correction data, we have a really low price. So currently it's about 15 cents for 1 hour usage. Let me check if this is also visualized in here. Enable data plan. Yes. So I need 0.15 data credits or $0.15 dollars per hour of data that I will use. That means 30 days. So after $20 or after 20 data credits, I can more or less be using for multiple days correction data. 30 days was the wrong word here. This is for the membership days. Yeah. But basically this way we can create the correction data usage. So if you buy a little bit of data credits as proposed, you can buy $25 or 25 data credits, 50, 100, 500. If you have this money on your account, then from there on you will just be spending 15 cents per hour for the correction data. And might be appearing cheap. It can also be expensive. It depends on which application you're thinking of. But that's basically it, I think. And you've seen how it works, how the data provider can use our product. You've seen how the clients can pay with US dollars to get the data credits, to get the correction data. And you've seen the world map coverage. As mentioned, we currently have 3.5 thousand stations. We need 100,000 stations to cover the whole world. And if one of you guys would be interested, then here on our console explorer, we also have an estimate rewards. So if you click on estimate rewards, you have here a small drag and drop pin, which you can just drop somewhere on the map. Let's say Lagos. And if I drop it here, not in the lake or in the ocean, but here in the city, then it immediately shows me the closest station. It's the one close to here. Abuja should be the next one. Oh, or there must be one offline. Yes. So here is a station offline currently. But if I would place my station here in close to Lagos city center, then I would receive 100% of the daily rewards, which is currently 6.4 tokens per day. And if this is interesting, I can click here where it says here, and then the documentation will start. And the documentation is explaining you or me how and what needs to be done to install something. So first you will need to buy a hardware. You can buy from an existing hardware provider. We have multiple partners which are listed. If you wait for Black Friday, that might also be good because that's already in November. Don't forget Black Friday. You can also use DIY solutions. So if you build your own hardware, then this works pretty well because you can have your hands on, you can save a lot of money. It's not that expensive. You can be creative. You can, set it together as you wish. But we will not be able to support you fully in this. This will be a lot of work, or let's say it will take you some time to do this documentation. It's about 30 minutes reading, but will be a few hours of working on it. And so, yeah, there are multiple ways to do it. The installation should not be a problem. Just make sure that your small antenna The white antenna has maybe the size of an average palm. Make sure that the antenna has a good sky view. Do not be as bad installed as I was on my balcony. That's not good. And then you will have to connect your hardware with our Explorer. This is already explained in our YouTube videos, which take about 40 seconds. And that's it. You will be able to earn digital money. You need to briefly install a wallet. A wallet is like you can imagine as a PayPal or as a Revolut account, just to receive and to pay, to make the payments. This is also easily done. We have YouTube videos explaining you this, which take less than 4 minutes, how to manage it and how to set it up. Yeah, I think this is the most important. All the questions, all the repetition of what exactly is GPS or GNSS, what was again the explanation of RTK, you can all find it as well here in our documentations. You can also find more applications which need RTK. If you guys will soon be interested in creating a new solution in the agriculture industry, you can also come and check on this site. Yeah, I think this is the most important that needs to be mentioned regarding this. Then I will go back. Yeah, I think so far I explained you the keywords deep in a physical infrastructure network, which is decentralized because it's cheaper, it's community owned, it's faster, more innovative. I explained you RTK, how correction or how stations can provide you centimeter accurate GPS everywhere around the world, connected through our Explorer. You will also be able to get digital money for the data that you're providing. And you can also use somewhere else correction data if you need it as a farmer or as an engineer. This is probably it. There are many different applications and use cases for RTK and centimeter accurate positioning. So these are just two simple visualizations, but if we start on the left side, we would call this kind of like the autonomy industry. So today, precision agriculture and construction or mining are the two biggest industries using RTK. They need it because they can save a lot of time, a lot of money, and it's a really huge and good scalable market for them. Because if you have a tractor driving up and down, doing his work on the farm, you can just take care of your animals or whatever else you need to do. And you do not need to sit and drive the machine up and down all day long. Same in the construction industry. The volume is okay. There are not so many people who are farmers or who are in the construction industry, but we see a huge volume growth in the future. So ground robotics, this can be delivery robots, this can be a lawn grower, and so on. They are currently in a huge growth. So this is more and more growing currently because there are a lot of startups in this industry also setting or reinventing the hardwares. The upper one is the aerial drones. We saw the solution in Rwanda, where they delivered the blood to the hospitals and doctors with unmanned aerial vehicles. There are a lot of drones also in the agriculture industry, which are used today, and so on. It will grow even more and more into autonomous vehicles. We saw, I think 3 weeks ago, how Tesla presented their autonomous cars. They will be using this kind of solutions. And in the far future, maybe even indoor positioning would be possible if there are enough stations next to a building. That's the autonomy side of the use cases. On the right side, we see the Earth observation. So today, a lot of surveying and mapping is done by RTK because it provides you immediately, so in real time, centimeter accurate data. But in the future, we also assume that more and more applications will benefit from a global RTK network. So the infrastructure integrity, weather monitoring will be really useful and big industry. We just had sad news from Spain this week that they were surprised by a huge rain catastrophe. A lot of people died in Spain because they didn't expect the strong weather activities. So this is also an industry which will ideally sooner than later realize that RTK data can provide them a lot of information which they are currently not tracking. And with the global coverage, this will even be more beneficial because then they can simulate whole world weather data. They can use the whole world weather data. Structural monitoring and financial market insurances will also benefit from real-time kinematic or our data streams. So you see, use cases and precision agriculture is just the beginning. It's only at the start within a low volume currently. But the more and more we can build out the infrastructure, the more and more of the global world can be covered and more people are informed about these applications, the more and more technological development can be built on. Same as the internet 15 years ago, or even 20 years ago. In the beginning, nobody really knew how to use the internet. There were so many failures, so many useless projects built on the internet until social media became one of the biggest applications, or online stores took over and are still taking over, right? That's a little bit a slide on the use cases of RTK. If we briefly have a look on the opportunities, then the current and future applications offer incredible SOM or market value, basically. So we see today the current applications line is showing you that the value is not really high. We are talking about 100 million is predicted for 2028, sorry, of the service operational market. But we think that it will grow more and more by building this network, this global coverage, because more startups are currently using this, but they are only a few years old. Once the startups succeed, more and more people will start using those services or applications, and more use cases will be supported by more users. And we will have again this flywheel loop that we saw in the beginning. Yeah, maybe really superficial slide about Onakoi. What is special about Onakoi is that we are horizontally placed. So today, a lot of companies already exist, which, have their stations, maybe 1,500, maybe more stations, and they will try to also provide their clients a hardware, like an autonomous lawn rover. And they will also provide the client with a service, support, or 24/7 contact. And so this is how basically the current market is very vertically oriented, but Onakoi prefers to be the horizontal solution. So we are mostly focusing on being the explorer where all the data streams can be connected through, and all the high precision applications can just come and use whatever they need, wherever they need it. So yeah, that's the shortest way for this slide. A brief overview of how our not so common blockchain business is structured is this one here. So on top, we have the association, which is owning basically everything and is kind of the mother of this project. And on the bottom, you have the service company, or AG, which is doing the services for the association. And now on the right side, you have those 3 points. Those are the token holders and the data consumers. I think this slide might not be so interesting for you guys in agriculture, but it basically just visualizes you how the tokenomics or economics with tokens works, how governance or how votings would be planned, how additional money can be made with the token, but not to make you rich. We're not promising anything similar. It's just to create an internal payment system that is aligning all the shareholders or all the participants or all the clients. And that's basically it. This is how we also are planning to decentralize the platform, but is currently not fully decentralized. Cool. Short overview of the roadmap. For the next 3 years, Onakoi had planned, first of all, to decentralize the supply side. This is in a good shape. So as already mentioned, we have about 3,500 stations online connected today. This allows us to already have, or to assume to have a community of at least 3,500 people-ish. Of course, there can be people with multiple stations, but we assume that we might have a community of 3,500 people. Yeah, we are also building ambassador programs. We are supporting every contributor or every application user or startup founder. And our goal for end of 2024 is really high, but we think we can more or less reach it towards end of the year to get more and more stations connected to Onakoi. What is also planned is the token listing. So token launch here. This means the token, once it's listed on a stock exchange, it's not a stock, so it's a decentralized exchange. That's how we call it in the Web3 world. Then basically the token can be transferred to fiat money. And then you can change it to US dollar or euros or whatever other currencies you need. Therefore, we have a few initiatives. So a private token sale, TGE means token generating event. So yeah, and the exchange listing. Yeah, and then in 2025, 6 and 7, more and more decentralization will happen. More growth, of course, will follow. We will be focusing also on the governance. So governance means every token owner or every person who will have one of the digital monies tokens will have a voting right. Voting right for future decisions. Voting right for changes or for improvement proposals as well. Yeah. And ideally, towards end of 2027-ish, 100,000 nodes or stations will cover the whole world. We assume an ARR of 16 million. And we also hope to till then have fully decentralized our project. Fully decentralized means that the association will still be running everything, but it will not only be implemented all the things by our company, but also by different companies who will be providing the services. Cool. We are coming to another interesting point, which is the team, which is always really important. I already mentioned you guys briefly. Our co-founder Daniel is also the co-founder of uBlocks. uBlocks is the unicorn. uBlocks is building the semiconductors which you have in your laptops, in your cars, in your drones. This led us to get a lot of people with technical background into our startup. So Thomas, Nick, Paulo are two other examples of our team members. We currently have about 12 FTEs, 12 full-time employees. They mostly have GPS and GNSS and RTK background. Nathan on the bottom is together with me more on the Web3 or blockchain side. He is one of the implementer and developer of this project. Yeah, I am more responsible for community communication. Mostly this, I think. Research, grants, these are a little bit my responsibilities. Yeah, and we also visualize you again transparently how the funding is working up to date. So far we reached 4.2 million in raising. 2.5 of those are from non-dilutive, so institutions who support us. There was an IPO, or the previous IPO experiences which allows Daniel and uBlocks to already raise a big chunk of money, or a big pocket of money. And we assume to be able to, or we target to also go in this direction, because we think this is something that is really important. Yeah, our team has 100 years of GPS experience and multiple decades of Web3 experiences. These
Hello,
are
sir.
just a few. Yes?
Please, we have a question.
Hmm.
I don't know if you can quickly attend to this. I'm showing it on the screen. He's
Yeah.
asking, is there an existing drone that implements RTK technology, and is it possible to combine machine learning with RTK?
Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you very much for this question. But Baina, I will briefly share you guys a really simple application. So if you just look for RTK and drones, then you will already see DJI, the famous drone company, showing you how they are doing it. So these are the big drones that DJI is doing, which can use RTK. You guys maybe know those normal Phantom ones, but they have much bigger drones using this kind of technology. Uh, yeah, I think it might be even something you guys can build or develop yourself if you have engineering friends. This is something that is pretty common. Let me even just search it like this: agriculture. Yes, so there are a lot of applications today. You know, they are using the drones to detect weed, to laser weed, to spread seeds. So there are many applications in the precision agriculture industry. And I think drones are not even the always best solution for RTK in the precision agriculture. I think there is maybe a good video called Katera. Katera actually built really light, it's about 60-kilogram heavy robot, which is with a camera detecting weed on the greens and on the vegetables, and will immediately laser the weed. And maybe I can show you a video of it. No, I have to go to the website. Not sure if I can see it here, but basically what they are doing is they are lasering away the weed, which allows the farmer to become a bio farmer, right? Because he's not using any chemicals for his vegetables. So this is also a really good solution, and they also need centimeter accuracy, because the machine has to drive precisely on top of the vegetables and not, destroy the whole farmland. So this hopefully answers your question: how precision farming can be using RTK and what kind of projects today exist. And there are even much bigger applications. This is just the one I know from a friend who founded it, and I'm always supporting it. And we are doing research together soon to try to move him over to our project. Yeah, now finally I found the video. I hope this can help you and visualize better what I was trying to explain. You can see here the light, all the weed, it will be lasered, so eliminated. See here the blue laser lines. So they are immediately killing the weed with a laser, because the AI or the algorithm in general can visually reconnect weed and then destroy it. And this makes it much more profitable than for the farmers. And also, what has not been mentioned yet, but Katera's concept is basically to only rent the machines. So this means if you live in Lagos or somewhere a little bit out in the agglomeration, you can have two machines and all the farmers can just rent the machine for days and then give it to the next one. So it's really affordable, it's cheap, and so many people will be using it because they don't need to buy it, right? They just pay a small membership or a pay per usage. They get the machine on the car, on the truck. use it on the farm, and then there will be, for a really low amount of money, be covered or served. I hope this answers your question. Please shout out if there are any other questions. Yeah, else I will go to the next slide. Um, I think I showed you guys now how deep-in or decentralized networks can be built. I think I also showed you now what exactly RTK is and how RTK can simplify many problem solutions. It can simplify logistical challenges. It can simplify delivery. It can simplify infrastructure. It can simplify farming, precision agriculture, thousands of applications. So if you guys are somehow interested in being a little bit more innovative, a little bit more creative and risky and less traditional, then I think RTK is a key word you should keep in mind, because this is something which we are driving forward. We want to cover the whole world, mostly Africa, to provide this better solution of infrastructure. Infrastructure is one of the most key and important things that you can build, because if the infrastructure is not good, then it's really hard to deliver something or to bring something from A to B or to develop something. And therefore, we think with RTK, we can skip the train rails, we can skip the good streets, and we can immediately start taking over the air or the water, the lakes, the oceans, etc. Because it makes machines autonomous. And what Rwanda did years ago hopefully can soon be done wherever you guys are based in. I think, yeah, with our decentralized network, we can even accelerate the process. So basically, within 2 months, your city could be covered, right? Because it only needs 2 to 3 stations to cover big cities with the 50-kilometer radius of each station. Yeah, let me check if there is another slide. Oh yeah, maybe this slide might also be interesting for you guys. This is showing you how exactly in Rwanda, this zipline startup is managing all their unmanned aerial vehicles. So in the early morning, they're settling up the stations, they're setting up the start ramp in the logistics center behind, they're preparing all the packages, all the blood that needs to be delivered. And once the day has started already, so many drones are in the sky flying from logistics center to the clients and back. And this is a really simple thing because it's autonomous. So you see here in Rwanda, from these 2 centers, the red points that you can see, there are so many drones in the air flying and coming back to the center. And this is not even, agriculture. I know it's not a perfect solution for you guys, but I think you could benefit as well from this kind of solution. And it's 10 a.m. in the morning and more than 150 deliveries had already been done. Imagine what you can do on your farm if you would have RTK for autonomous lawnmower, autonomous tractor, autonomous drones on your farm. It helps you really to industrialize your work, to accelerate the process. Yeah, that's what we believe. Cool. I'm open for further questions. I prepared some other slides, but I'm not sure if it's really interesting to you guys to go much deeper in tokenomics, blockchain, crypto, etc. So please, if there are any questions.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Let me quickly check through. If you have any other more questions, so we can address that. Okay. Someone is saying, as a student, data science and machine learning, how can I join your team? Okay, either for internship or another opportunity. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the question. The easiest way is to reach out to us. We are not hiring people, we are supporting people. So we cannot just, pay you every month money for you do, we much rather try to work with you together. We try to keep you on the same level as us. We will together try to look, where do you live? How can we support your neighborhood, the farmers in your neighborhood, or the logistic projects in your neighborhood? How can we together, build the RTK network, the global RTK network, and then provide the whole environment with the required infrastructure? So this is basically our way. And as mentioned, the easiest way is just scan one of these QR codes. Or in the middle one, you can check again the Explorer I showed you, and then reach out to us. You know my name, Sam. You can also find my name if you just look for Sam Onakoy. Yeah, I hope this answers your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. All right. It's really nice having you here. Share your experience around the RTK application, building global RTK network. Talking about satellite on GNSS, GPS. Talk about the Galileo, the Verde network, and GPS. Yeah, it's really an insightful class, and also showcasing yeah, what's the plan I've been doing, because I believe so much in the fact that their projects, the delivery logistic network, also have the input of RTK into its operation. Yeah, because it's talking about precision landing, getting geo-reference locations and all of these things. So for you not to actually miss the destination. I think RTK is very, very important as regarding the stability. So, and likewise, it's applicable in agriculture, either for spraying operations or seed broadcastings and all of those things. So, to actually follow the waypoints so you don't exceed uh, your target line. Yeah. So, and also for maybe in the case of taking off and landing, so you're taking off from a particular place, home point recorded. So RTK can actually help you to get I mean to return back to that same home point, that exact coordinate. Yeah, I think this is a part of things I also gained from this section. It's really nice having you here. Thanks so much, Mr. Samuel Welde. And on behalf of the entire Precision Field Academy team and the program planning team for Precision Agriculture Incubation Program, I'm saying a very big thank you to you for honoring our invitation and your willingness to share with us. It's really a great one having you here, and we believe that some other time when we call on you, you would be able to show up to always share with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much as well. And maybe a short notice. I will be in Cape Town and Johannesburg mid-November. So there are 2 or 3 conferences now in November. If anybody is also from or is in South Africa at this time, please reach out on LinkedIn or X or however you prefer. Always open to have a coffee, whoever is interested in. We are working already there with institutions, governments, ambassadors, and the more people we can, attract in Africa, in the continent of Africa, the better, because I think it's not possible to build the infrastructure in Africa on our own. The governments failed really badly in different countries, but if the community themselves start doing it together, it might be much more efficient to do it, and therefore every contributor is welcomed, is required. So yeah, again, if you're in South Africa, anybody, please reach out. Always welcome to have a coffee and to exchange a little bit how we can solve certain of your problems or use RTK maybe for some of your ideas.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. It's really nice having you. So, and thanks to all our participants, to everyone who joined. So we meet next week, Monday. So this is the second week of the Professional Agriculture Incubation Program. So I'll be discussing with you in the respective WhatsApp group, yeah, for information. So thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. Bye, and thank you, everyone. Yeah. See you some other time.
Bye, everyone.
All right. All right, Mr. Bra, thank you so much. I'm glad you're here.